Hello, welcome to this video. Thanks for tuning in, sharing in this now moment with myself and with one another. If you haven't seen these videos before, welcome back if you have. My intention is unity and oneness. I want to just go into a little flow. Happy full moon. We're still in the full moon energies. Full moon was, I believe, yesterday, maybe the day before. And we're still in these Lion's Gate frequency, if you will, portal activation. We are walking portals of energy. We link up with different frequencies in different places and spaces within our reality matrices. And so it's always fun to talk about that from a multidimensional perspective, and kind of get out of the linearity or conceptual thinking that many of us have been, what my guides call poured into, molded into, because of our beliefs and all of that. So things are being shaken up for a lot of us within our belief systems. And so, yeah, I just wanted to kind of start off by saying that. So this will be a little bit of a flow, and then I'll do an energy update next, or maybe potentially all together. So as I drop into this field, into this space of awareness, I have languages that come in. I have thoughts and visions that stream in to this stream, if you will, of downloadable information. And this downloadable information contains packets or pockets of frequency dynamics that blend and merge with certain concepts. But above and beyond these concepts are language and dialect when listening and interpreting to the words that come through. There are sounds that are brought into the language and diagnostics, if you will, of the light language frequencies that come in, as well as the visions or pictures that are attached with, I'm seeing like when you get a file and you have an attachment that you download, like you get a written format, but then there's a picture that comes with it, as well as certain feelings that are associated with these downloadable and somewhat digestible pieces and packets and pockets of information, or zip files, if you will. And many of us are unzipping that which has been filed away for some time. And as we unzip these files and we retrieve, if you will, beyond just receiving, we retrieve these packets and parcels. I'm seeing the owl that drops in the parcels from Harry Potter. We begin to merge with this information. We begin to immerse ourselves within this ocean, if you will, of energy that can be seen, heard, felt as information, or just understood, connected with energy. In this reality, we perceive things as informative, for we are learning from our information. We are becoming more educated, if you will, play on words, with what it is that we are beginning to understand and how it is we are perceiving and what it is that we are perceiving and how that perception comes into play, and so on and so forth. And so we invite you to also play in this way, for the information we are sharing is not just a point A to point B reflection of a speaker and listener. It is an energetic culmination, if you will, a spin of information and energetic wavelengths that are distributed in an even type tone or in a template that can be understood on a cellular level within the own human template, the own human temple and structure or architecture. And so therefore, whenever we share this information through this type of interaction, a video format, if you will, or a recording or a sound system or a voice to ear type of understanding, you can hear beyond that which is being spoken. Oftentimes, this is not necessarily, I'm seeing not necessarily understood or recognized. And so we invite you to Be more open in recognizing this in all interactions, not just in this particular video interaction. For the way in which we are interacting with one another has greatly shifted. And there are those of us who are conflicted by the energies that are coming forward at this time. For words can be very misinterpreted based on a mold or reality that we have been told existed before the time that is now. And so we are in this, I'm seeing two waves that come up against each other, and it's like pushing against each other, the old and the new. And what they're showing me is that we have this idea that is carrying us forward or is being pushed forward up against this new wave. And if we can just soften and open, there becomes this merge, and that which no longer fits with the new just dissolves. And some of these I'm hearing pattern recognition is key. We start to recognize old patterns, past patterns that no longer hold a key to fit within the new territory that we are, plan words, that we are merging with, that we are co-creating with, that we are the creators of, with, and through. So as we create through this new frequency, anew, plan words, A-N-U, A-N-E-W, we begin to create new patterns that allow us to isolate and trap the old patterns, so to speak. Some of those will be dissolved and merged with the new. The others are isolated so that we can reconstruct them or deconstruct or allow those energies to be deconstructively exchanged with. This is a plan words. Some of the energies that are old are holding patterns that have created cogs in the wheel, one might say. These cogs in the wheel, or dissonance, another version, or ensnarements or entrapments, are being witnessed compassionately for some, and more emotionally for others. For as we recognize these cogs in the wheel, or these signature patterns that were holding us in a particular pattern, plan words, or frequency set, are no longer setting us up for our best. They are no longer setting us up with our best interest in mind, for it is an old rulership paradigm or programming that has lost its way, its sensibility, its ability to sensibly display an output, an input to output ratio, an input to output system that allows us to put or step our best foot forward. So we are inching our way, if you will, into a new reality with new concepts. And this new concepts is, that's a plan words. I'm seeing like forceps when you're birthing something. So the old way would be using forceps, and the new way is no longer that, there's not violent, but like rough. It's like we could really do this a lot smoother. But back when we used forceps, we didn't realize there was anything else that could be done differently. It's kind of this weird, I'm just seeing that's old energy. I'm hearing archaic. And yet we are in the beginning stages of recognizing the old patterns as being so old that we would laugh in time at what it is that we are currently still playing with. For the old habit, I'm hearing old habits die hard. And we're beginning to laugh a bit at some of the things that we thought held us in place. So as we slide into this new home base, as we allow ourselves to interlace with a new higher, I'm hearing, what's that song, Can You Take Me Higher? That old big hair band. Shuye kupai ikikai nishi. I'm doing a little light language here. Shukuma at ikai nikikai mawoho ushini kikai nunuku an ukushini. The energies that are streaming in now are vast. There is a huge advancement that is taking place, a new wave, if you will. And the old wave is at a bit of a standstill, yet it pushes forward. It moves on because it has no choice. We have given it a new choice, and it chooses this old frequency, this old energy, to limit our choice potential. Therefore, the choice has been made to close out what has been already made so that we can create a new frequency within which to contribute to reality. We are done, if you will, I'm seeing this, with playing in the old frills. I'm hearing, I found my thrill on Blueberry Hill. Like, it's just, which is a great song, by the way. We are not enticed as much by the old paradigms, stories, people, players, races, all of it. And there are some that seek that out, for it gives them a sense of comfort, even through their discomfort. But we invite you to feel into what that really represents. And I'm just seeing somebody putting on an old sweater full of moth holes because it's comfortable. They're used to it. It used to be their favorite sweater. It's nostalgic, if you will, because of habit patterns that have been created because of where they went when they wore the sweater, or somebody complimented them on it, or whatever it might be. I'm seeing it's got moth holes in it, and that's a play on words, I think, the moth holes. I'm hearing time is up. So let us co-create with this new energy in a streamlined and effectual depository system. And we talk about deposits, for we are each depositing energy into this new field. We are each dropping, if you will, certain aha moments. I'm seeing dropping the mic and allowing ourselves to rewrite in our own way, our own sound bites, our own ability to play with the new sounds and musical technology that is sweeping the airways, one might say. I'm hearing airways and airwaves. Okay, this has to do with our lungs, our throat, our higher heart, and speaking our truth, speaking out our frequency, the sound behind the sound that that's something that the guides have been playing with for years. It's not just what's being said, it's what's coming from what's being said. It's how it's being said. It's not the tone, it's the actual signature frequency that is released because of the energy behind, or the meaning behind what's being said. So this is something that's really important that the guides have talked about a lot, which is essentially paying attention to this, because it's reading between the lines. It's recognizing the truth in somebody's patterns underneath what it is they're talking about. And a lot of us are recognizing this, and then I'm seeing people go, no, like, that's just my imagination. But they're encouraging us, I'm getting goosebumps right now. They're encouraging us to use our imagination. But what if, okay, I just heard that person, I don't feel like they're being honest. Asking ourselves, why do I feel that way? And this is where discernment comes into play. Because when we listen, are we not believing someone because of our old belief system? Because of our old pattern? Because of what we've been told is real? So we don't believe it because of our logical, right-brained ability to problem solve, which, by the way, isn't a bad thing. We want to use that. But there comes a point when somebody can sit and tell us something, but they're not energetically matching what they're saying, is basically what the guides are saying. And we've all been given the gift of discernment. In some cases, that person may be doing it for a positive reason, or a seemingly positive reason. I'm hearing like white lies to make somebody feel better, or whatever it might be. But that's not what they're referring to. They're talking about a deeper level. We can start to feel when somebody speaks what their energetic signature is. Not necessarily if they're just telling the truth, but where they're coming from. If they're in a place of anger or fear as they're speaking. Does that make sense? The guides are really trying to hone in on this. So also for us, like if we're trying to tell someone something, as much as we can, we're being invited to come from a place of feeling, coming from a place of authenticity. This is my truth. Not coming from a place of telling our truth because of old wounds, because of ego-driven communication. We're seeing that play out in front of us, right? I'm not going to name names, but there's a lot of people on the main stage on both sides. If we're talking in the realms of the hearing politikal, a play on words, realms where ego is coming into play. And by the way, sometimes ego is a good thing. Sometimes we need that for survival. It's really helped us out. But also recognize if someone seems like they're not coming from a place of ego, but in actuality, they really are. So there's so many different things that are playing out that we're being gifted the opportunity to recognize now, also within ourselves. And also I'm hearing non-judgment, coming from a place, okay, I just responded out of fear, anger, ego, whatever it might be, survival. But not being hard on ourselves from being in that place at times, because these are, again, I'm hearing old habits die hard. Many of us are starting to see that kind of become more obvious faster. We can almost feel it as we say it. And so we're being called in that moment to stop and reroute that frequency and say, where am I really coming from? What do I really want to say here? What am I trying to communicate? And by the way, I'm hearing, don't be afraid to say, I'm not sure what I'm trying to communicate right now. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm sensing. This is what I'm seeing. So I'm not really sure how those words are lining up with what I'm trying to communicate right now, but I'll get back to you when I figure it out. Or this is my best way that I can come up with it now. Because that in itself is a pure form of communication. So these are all just kind of things they're trying to point out. So when we see it in somebody else, where are we doing the same thing? In all aspects, but they're talking about higher heart, communication, throat, this whole upper chamber, if you will. And this is just one piece of the puzzle. For habit patterns that are showing up for us, that are showing us what and why we've done some of the things we've done and what those actions have created in our lives. It gives us an ability to see more clearly and objectively what it is that we are choosing in this now moment, what it is that we choose moving forward. And we then make more obvious choices that seemed less obvious before. For the patterns are so obvious that we can only move forward as this I'm hearing shiny being. And so I'm hearing the shine from like the movie The Shining. Like we've got the shine on. So now we're like, okay, I'm aware of this. Now I can make this choice moving forward. And it shifts the entire dynamic of our reality. I'm hearing pattern recognition again. So right now it's a lot about pattern recognition, recognizing our patterns, recognizing other people's patterns, not so that we can point out their flaws. And I'm hearing diamond in the rough, but so we can actually begin to reorganize, take into account the beauty in the flaw, and that I'm being called to play with that. So I will. You guys, it's so fun to really understand why the guides use some of these words that would seem just like a normal word, but I'm going to give this for instance so we can really check this out. So the guides are saying it's important for us to see the flaws right now, to recognize the flaw within ourselves and the flaw in others, but don't see it as a flaw. So I'm like, okay, well, so if I look this up, I'm on Edam Online, a flake of snow. So it came from a flake of snow. Now we're seeing that as it's a flaw, it's something wrong. Well, how is a flake of snow really something wrong? A flake of snow, a snowflake, is a blueprint. It's got an original, it's part of the fractal. So there is no, this is where it comes back to there are no mistakes kind of thing. Like a flaw is a flake of snow. A spark of fire, a splinter. And then it eventually came into layer of stone. So how is that bad? A spark of fire. a flake of snow. Then it turned into flag. So we've got flaw, which comes into flag. And when I see that, a piece cut from turf or sod to be flat. So it's got something that has to do with a piece of something bigger. Do you see where I'm going with this? So my point is that I'm seeing in this is that it's all connected. So even a flaw is part of what we're being invited to see it as part of the bigger picture. So we can move forward and smooth that out, or to recognize that each person that has their flaw is still an individual beautiful snowflake, because it's all part of the fractal. So I thought that would be, it's a fragment, it's a piece of something. So yeah, so play with that a little bit. And so we will end on this note. There is a particular order in all things, even during what seems as chaos. And so we are coming into a new arrangement, if you will, of many different points within the scope of the imagination. And let us play with this for a moment. For what it is that we can see within our own ability, within our own systematic, I'm hearing noteworthy. Oh, that's a play of words. Okay, of energy. So let me go back and just finish that sentence. For what we can see realistically in our imagination that we bring as noteworthy, that we bring to the table into our reality, that we utilize to create from that space of receptivity, of seeing more. We are the ones that are creating the doors. We are the ones that are creating the access points to more. So the more that we can utilize our imagination, the more that we can access beyond that which we have been told, the more sparks that we can create in this fold. I'm hearing manifold, brain fold, that I'm seeing synapses firing, that I'm seeing thought patterns reigniting and becoming less chaotic. They become more, again, I'm seeing that beautiful snowflake patterns. We create new patterns, and then we emerge and immerse. We are in this fold, we're in this energy, and I'm seeing a implosion flowering in on itself. And then we're utilizing that to create what we want in our reality. And we're doing it now. Through us in that moment, seeing the flaw, recognizing it, observing it, and integrating it, not in a place of non-judgment. We're staying in focus. We're staying in rhythm. And we don't get pulled into this old chaotic energy that in actuality was I'm just seeing a looping pattern. I'm being called to go back to, what did I say earlier? Back to life, back to reality. Okay, so we're co-creating in reality in a very different way, because we are codes of source energy, and we are each coding. We are coders. We are coding and co-creating our own coat of arms, our own linking up, linking arms, our own ability to, I'm hearing strong arm, our new reality. But it's not through force. It is through force. It's through, may the force be with you. It's through being in tune with all of this and not being in, what I'm hearing is judgment is a resistance. So we use the resistance band, and instead of resisting it, we band together with it with a new bandwidth. This creates, I'm hearing, stronger muscles. Like we've been working out, we've been prepping for this. So now is the time to let go and get light, is what I'm hearing. Lighten up the load. Begin to visualize and equalize, visualize, equalize, visualize, equalize. Just like when you're a scuba diver and you're equalizing to go under, go deeper, go within, go deeper. I'm hearing go deeper than the earth's crust. Like there's more than meets the eye. Now I'm hearing inner earth alchemy. So as within, so without. So what's happening is as we create this bandwidth and we merge with some of the new bandwidths and we start to dissolve the old bandwidths, we unify at a much greater, again, level of adaptability. The words that I was hearing earlier were noteworthy. So when we talk about being noteworthy, this is a moment that's worth writing down. And I'm hearing more about this. So it's a moment that is, a note is not only something that you write down that brings it into reality. When you go back and read a book, it's like a timestamp. But it also has to do with our own self-worth. It has to do with our own sense of a value system. So worthiness, right? Getting out of judgment, again, is coming up again and again and again. It's come up pretty much all the time. And I'm also hearing our value system. Because if we think about it, when you think of money, it's a note, right? The C note, for example. But this also has to do with musical scales. So this has to do with when we come into coherence, time and time again, right? We use our projector, our heart, how we see reality changes, then how we create reality changes. So what this is doing is this is happening in a very quantum scaling effect. But more and more of us are doing this. So if more and more of us are doing this, then that reality has already landed. That many people are looking off in the distance saying it's so far away. It's not, based on what I'm being shown. Based on if we all kind of follow that type of modality, scale, baseline frequency, it increases our conductivity, it increases our range of motion, how far we're able to, I'm hearing, move the ocean, move mountains. So again, it's creating a unionship with our bodies. It's creating that with our environment. It's creating us with our body as a collective of humans. So can we use our imagination to bring into fulfillment, right? To fulfill not only our needs and what we need to survive, but what we can imagine. You know, I look back at Albert Einstein, and I know that Albert Einstein didn't have everything right. We're learning that, neither did Isaac Newton. But these great minds, they use their imagination to bring into this reality through notes, through coordinates, through mathematics, through experimentation, through playing, that allowed them to bring to our awareness their perspective, their theories of reality, that we then based our science and everything in our reality off of. We are them, embodied in our own way. Some people are doing it through cooking. Some people are doing it through movement. Some people are doing it through writing. We're all utilizing this, but we're being called to use our resources. And our resources are our imagination, our ability to speak our truth, what we're seeing, what we're feeling, and doing it from a place that's less chaotic and more balanced gives us the ability to stabilize this course, if you will, in the new era. And that's a play on words. We're playing with ether. We're playing with the elements. So I know I went off on a little tangent there, but hopefully someone found that fun, entertaining. In love and light, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. To be continued. Namaste.